Just like that, we are back for week 3 of the quarterfinals for America's Got Talent season 20, and it was another jam-packed episode with some great acts as well this week. We also had a very, I wouldn't say unexpected golden buzzer, but we had another golden buzzer who I was not expecting to get it this week, and it was a very similar act to the one we had last week as well, believe it or not. And of course, we found out who made the next 3 spots in the semi-finals, and honestly, this week had to be the most shocking, surprising result show I've seen in such a long time. So we've got a lot to talk about in this week's recap and review of America's Got Talent this season for season 20. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the video. So yes, as you guys know by now, it was week 3 of the quarterfinals for America's Got Talent this season, this week, and it was, like I mentioned, it was another great episode. I really enjoyed it, and yet the acts overall were just fantastic. And so, honestly, it was a blast watching this episode. And honestly, I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite live shows so far this season. I absolutely loved almost every single one of these acts, and honestly, I just loved. There was like no bad performance in my opinion this episode, which was great to see. So drink some water there. Got my handy bottle of water here beside me. But yeah, it was a really great episode overall. I really enjoyed it, and of course, you know, we're only one quarterfinal away before we head to the semi-finals, which is very exciting. We already have a great lineup for the semi-finals we have so far, which I'll quickly get up now. Hang on. So let me find them quickly. If I can, I'm on the fandom, scrolling. So the acts we have so far are Lightwire, Psycho Maria, Jordan Blue, Unreal Crew, Bay Mailneck, and the Leo High School Choir, and of course the 3 acts we got this week, which we'll get onto later on in the video. But honestly, it's shaping up to be a solid semi-final. I am hoping to get some of the acts to get to the final in terms of who I have in my predictions list. I did throughout the past few months, hoping to get some of those out there, but we're only one way to find out, which we'll find out next week, of course. So, you know what? Let's just get straight into the recap, as we do have quite a lot to talk about. So, kicking off the night, we had Jacqueline and Wagner, the aerialist rollerblading duo from Italy and Spain. And in their audition, they did a roller skating and aerialist routine to Benson Boone's Beautiful Thing. You know, we've all heard that song before. And I believe someone mentioned that she looked like what's that character from Roger Rabbit? Hang on, I'm gonna find that quickly. Roger Rabbit, female. What was the name? Jessica Rabbit. That's who she reminded me of Jessica Rabbit, especially with the red hair. It gave me that. I think that's what Simon mentioned as well, to be honest. So let's talk about their quarterfinal performance. So basically, so they did a roller skating area routine to Lorraine's Tattoo, which was a song I think I've heard before, and basically their performance had them. Well, they actually had Jacqueline with basically her head tied to a not tied, but a head attached to a pole. Well, not a pole, but like a chain, kind of similar to Duo Soma, in their audition a few weeks ago, and they did that, and they of course did some stunts in the air, and you know all that good stuff, you know, and there was one point where at the start where they were doing they were at the judges table and they were doing the kind of swinging, and then it looked like her head would almost hit the platform, which it didn't, which was very intense. And of course they did some more stunts in the air, and all this good stuff. And again, I just think, I mean, this whole performance, I mean, this was a way to kick off the show. Like, this was such a brilliant way to kick off the night. So Mel mentioned that she had to point out there was no safety nets there. She didn't know how they had the mindset to do it, but it went brilliantly. Simon mentioned that it was sensational. Howie mentioned that all the acts he had seen that they've asked to step up, they stepped it up. And of course, Sophia mentioned they took it to another level, and it was amazing. The hair pulling was intense, and of course, the most important thing is that it was. She could tell how important it was for the pair, which was, you could definitely tell as well with that. And I couldn't agree any more with the judges here, because I think they hugely stepped it up from this time around. And I think the tricks they were doing themselves was just nothing short of phenomenal, just incredible. I love seeing these type of acts on the show, as it always gives a very exciting element to seeing something I haven't seen on the show for a while, and I've always loved seeing acts like these on the show, as it just takes my breath away, and they did just that. And honestly, these two have Vegas written all over them. I could easily see them have their own show in Vegas. It's just, I just think seeing an act like this on the show is just so exciting, as it just shows the amount of dedication and hard work that they put into an act like this, and it's honestly, it's just nothing short of phenomenal. And just and I will say some of the tricks that did kind of remind me of the ones they did in the audition, but who cares? Because I honestly thought they hugely stepped up regardless, and honestly, it was a fantastic start to the show, and I really am happy to see that they improved. Well, not improved, but I'm really glad that they stepped up once again for the live shows this season. And it was, like I mentioned, it was an overall absolutely brilliant start to the show. Now we go on to Austin Brown, the singer from the singer who's from that band. Was that band called what band was he in? What band was he? Was made as a in the band winning. Um, where is it? I got no idea I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just I've got quiet with son. I'm just trying to find the name of the group that he was in. Oh, where is it? What group was he in? What was it? What was it? Home Free. That was the name. That was the name of the group he was in. Home Free. I was looking at the wiki. I was like, what's that? What group was he in? And then it was like, oh, there it is. So his actually story was actually quite interesting, because the first time around he actually got a no. He didn't make it to the next round, but he came back a few weeks later with his original song called Somebody Believed, which got him 4 yeses. And of course, that made him go through to the next round, and he's in the quarterfinals now. So honestly, he has probably had the most interesting journey so far. He getting rejected the first time around, but then coming back more stronger, and then just really stepping up his game in the auditions. And let's talk about his quarterfinals performance here. So basically, he did his own original titled song called Whiskey, and he had a band accompanied behind him, and hit that. The whole band behind him, and you can tell he felt right at home with this performance. And can I just say, I can't be the only one who thinks this, but am I the only one who thinks that Austin looks a little bit like Brian Kelly from Florida Georgia Line? Like, I can't be the only one who thinks that. I honestly can't be, because I could literally hear the voice in it, and like also like he's got that like kind of stage presence like Brian Kelly, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so the comments to the judges here. So Mel mentioned that it was like so Mel mentioned it felt like it was something she had already heard on the radio, and she was a bit confused about what he was saying, but she enjoyed it, and it was the vibe. Sophia mentioned it was better than the auditions, and he's got stage presence, and it was amazing. But Howie and Simon were a bit more critical this time around. So Howie mentioned that he's one of the most talented singers they have on the show, and he's got to pick his lane. He didn't feel like he picked the best genre for his voice, as he mentioned, he felt like more pop. And in the country world, he didn't think it was going to stick out, which I actually disagree with, actually. And Simon mentioned he had seen this audition, and he would have said to him to take off the hat and then slow it down and just focus on his voice. And he felt like he was over the top, which honestly I don't fully agree with, because I think this time around we got to see a different side of him. Because last time he did like a ballad, kind of like a love ballad in a way, but then this time around he has a band behind him. You can tell he's having a really fun time. His vocals I thought were really good as well. I actually thought he vocally improved. The arrangement of the song was brilliant. It was just fantastic. And just he really leveled up for the live shows this season, this summer round. I just thought he really brought in. His range is actually quite incredible. Like, some of the notes he's able to hit is just wowzers. It's really good, and just I just think he's such a great singer, and he has really had this kind of underdog storyline where he didn't make it through the first time round, but then he came back, he got 4 yeses, and he got to the quarterfinals. Honestly, this was a great performance overall. I disagree with what Howie and Simon said, as I honestly thought that he really stepped up for the first time around. So I thought he massively improved from his first auditions, because he auditioned twice, but in different episodes. But overall, I thought he really stepped up his game, and I thought it was a great performance overall. Now we go on to Maseo Harrison, the dancer from the Savannah Bananas. I believe that's a football team. Is it a football team? Is it a football team? Um, I'm not too sure actually. Just trying to find it. No, I'll find it later. But anyway, so he basically in his audition was a very different type of dance, because he did it to Wrecking Ball, and he actually used the whole basically the whole theatre to do his routine, which I thought was really, really unique and something really different that I'd never seen before on the show. So that's what I really liked about his audition. And this performance, I thought, was another great performance from him this time around. I've also thought he really stepped up his game from the first time around that we saw him. So his performance had him doing a dance routine to Chandelier by Sia. We all know that song. And basically, it starts off with him coming out of Simon's trailer, and then kind of, kind of basically kind of doing some more flips, doing outside, where the basically where the IKEA lounge is, and there's like contestants like there's like I think Austin Brown was there, I believe. Yeah, Micah Palace was there. We had Austin there. Mastermind was just chilling. He didn't really interact much, and so he was basically doing that. And then he did a flip over some of a box, a moving box with wheels. I don't know what you call that. And did anyone notice that this was actually recorded? What seems to be at sunset. So this bit must have been pre-recorded, and then he must have been like waiting on the sides. So that's just what I think. And then he comes out swinging from this big chandelier, hence the name. He literally comes swinging out of the chandelier, which was just mental. I was just like, "What the hell?" That he's got this. He came up with this chandelier. I was not expecting that. But he did some breakdancing, some hip hop. He interacted with the judges a bit. He gave Simon a fist bump. He kind of was being a bit flirtatious with with Mel and Sophia. Then he kind of jokingly rubbed Howie's head, but not literally, because he's a germophobic. And honestly, I just thought he really, I just absolutely loved this performance. It was just so fun to watch. It really, really impressed me. I just loved the whole everything about it. Um, so Howie mentioned that with him that they can't wait to see what he's going to do to that stage. Simon mentioned that it was so brilliant, the chandelier, that he didn't tell Simon that they were part of the banana baseball thing, and he's already a star. Sophia mentioned that being a solo dancer is so difficult, but he made it so much more fun. And Mel mentioned that the reason why he loves him so much is she doesn't know what he's gonna do next, which is probably the best description about him. But because you honestly don't know what to expect from him every time he performs, which makes it so more exciting. So honestly, like his audition, I really liked, but this time around, I loved it. I absolutely loved this whole performance. Like just the way he uses the stage, he make it, the whole theater into like one routine. It's so slick. It's just so unique. I've never seen a dancer like him on the show, and the way he just performs on the show, well, the way he interacts with the judges, the way he makes the usage of the stage really smartly. Honestly, he is just a natural. He's just an absolute natural showman, and I just think he's absolutely brilliant. So he really improved. He really stepped up his game this time around, and I just really I really was just blown away by this his whole performance. I still can't get over the whole him literally swinging from the big chandelier. That was just mental. It was mental. Oh gosh, I'm man, I love it. Um, Honestly, I just think he's just really just brilliant. I don't think I've given him enough credit, to be honest with you, since his audition aired. I've not given enough credit to him, so I've got to give him some more credit to him. Um, so yeah, I really really loved this performance this time around. I just thought he massively stepped up, and overall, it was a fantastic performance. Now we go on to the Ben family band, who were the group of people who lost their homes in the LA fires that happened earlier this year. A very, very upsetting time which happened in LA. So yeah, we all know how tragic that was. And their audition had them doing Lauren Daigle's Rescue as a tribute to their fallen city, which was very beautiful. And of course, Mel B was actually quite emotional. She actually was in tears in their audition. Have some more water. Hang on. There we go. Full. Got to take some water these days. So let's talk about their performance now. They basically they did a stripped down version of "I Won't Give Up" by Jason Mraz, and basically they were in front of basically like a background what looked to appear family ashes, and which I think, because like the people who lost their lives, their ashes were kind of remembering them in a way, and then so basically kind of started quite slowly, but then it really built up into like a really beautiful like blast at the end, just a bit, just like kind of like a and just it was really great. It was absolutely beautiful. Watching this performance, I did get a bit teary eyed watching them. So it was a really beautiful performance overall. Sophia mentioned that it was beautiful, so moving, and their story is so inspiring. What they had to go through. Howie mentioned as judges they want to separate the story from the act, but the story is an act. Very true, and he could feel the broken hearts when they sing, and it's beautiful. Mel mentioned that she loves them, she adores them, and they made her cry the last time they heard. But she mentioned that they're better than that. Okay, which is a fair enough. I do think there were some times where they were a little bit iffy, but Simon mentioned that he was just trying to think that because he had so many thoughts. It was really strong and beautiful, and they sounded better compared to the first time round. And they're keeping the story alive, which is again a very good thing, and they should be proud of themselves. Which I definitely agree with what Simon said there. And I loved their audition this summer. Their audition was really, really powerful. It moved me to tears when I was watching it. Um, and once again, it was another really emotional performance. I've never heard the song before. I know Jason Mraz, but I never heard of the song before. But while I can agree at some points that Mel did make some good points that maybe it could have been better, but as an overall performance, I still thought it was a really beautiful, beautiful performance. And just seeing the amount of strength these group of people have together is nothing short of inspiring. And I can't stress that enough. They really are such an inspiring group of people, and it's just nothing short of just honestly, after the show, I really hope that they are doing well. I hope they're finding more peace. I hope they're just, and I love moments like this when you listen to a performance or watch a performance, and you could just feel the emotions and the power into it. It's nothing short of just beauty, and beyond that, it's absolutely captivating to watch. And these guys absolutely did that with this performance. It was another really emotional performance, and I just thought it was completely and utterly beautiful, to say the least. I can't say enough words, but it was just absolutely beautiful. So that's what I think of them, and yeah, I just hope after the show they are still keeping the course alive, and I still hope they are making. I just hope they are doing okay at it, because I know what they had to go through was just horrible, and I just feel awful for them. I can't imagine what they must have went through with that whole situation. It really was horrible. So my prayers are with them, and I just wish them nothing but the best going forward. So let's move on to the next act, being the Mosaudi brothers, who I'm sure you guys know how much I freaking love these guys. Because not only they were on Britain's Got Talent as well last year, and because they brought their very new act in the immortal words of Anton Deck with their sexy juggling, which was very true because that's what their act was. So in the auditions, they came back where they did the juggling with the knives to Usher's More, which is basically a remix, and Mel B pressed the golden buzzer for them, which was very well deserved, if I say so. Very, very, very well deserved golden buzzer. And even Sophia mentioned, I think I mentioned this in in my review of them in their audition. But Sophia mentioned that she wanted to press the golden buzzer, but Mel B beat her to it, which was quite funny. Even I think Simon mentioned that she was going mad about it, that Sophia didn't press the golden buzzer for them, which was quite funny. Um, so let's talk about their performance here. So excuse me, I am very, very tired today. So excuse the yawning because it's just one of these days. So their performance actually started off with them in the signature black and white suits they were wearing in the first audition, and they were actually blindfolded, and basically, and they had like fire in them, like juggling blades with fire, and they were juggling it between the pair of them, which was very impressive. And they did that for a few times, and then what happened was they switched it up all over again, and they were juggling, and then they took the blindfolds off, and then off came the shirts, and there come the the chesticles coming, the chest, the six packs. The six packs came out, the trousers came off, and they were in the undies, and they were doing juggling with, I believe they were doing it with actual thingies and not knives this time around, which was very cool. And they literally did juggling as well, and they were going up steps as well. They were going up steps while doing the juggling, which was seriously impressive, and just and they kept doing that, and then at one point, one of them, I think Sophie, actually fell onto the. He didn't fall off it, but he fell. He missed his step, and despite that, he still kept doing the juggling, which was just incredible. And then they did that, and then there was even a gap between and the middle where they jumped across, and they were even swapping and doing the juggling and putting on different clothes, which I believe was the outfit Terry was wearing that live show, which was pretty funny. And then they did that, and they ended up basically crossing the other side, going down the other steps, and then ended off with them doing the juggling, and then they did. They did their ending poses, and then I think one of them did a backflip to end off, which was awesome. And honestly, no pun intended, these guys literally stepped up their game from the first time that we saw them all those weeks ago. So Mel mentioned that they stepped up to another level, and she doesn't realize how difficult it really was. And then Howie mentioned that he loves the act, they're worthy of the golden buzzer. And he mentioned about act stepping up, and then he mentioned it doesn't mean to do the same act, only going up by steps. So kind of a little funny thing from Howie to say. Simon mentioned that he kind of know where Howie is going with this. However, they arguably stepped it up. Literally, it was a very well rehearsed, polished act, and he scored it at 10 out of 10. Which you could tell, to be honest, looking back at them and Joglissimo, you could tell that he seemed to like them way more than Joglissimo, which I can actually understand, to be honest, because I think Joglissimo's quarterfinal act felt a bit the same, to be honest. Because I felt like it felt very similar to their audition, but it was just at a faster pace. But these guys really, really changed up the game. And Sophia mentioned that they make juggling exciting, and fun, and she would have given them a golden buzzer, but she doesn't have fun, which, you know. um, but yeah, so yes. So yeah, so yeah. Which so tough luck for you, Sophia, that you didn't get a golden buzzer. But back to their performance. They honestly, they really took it to a whole new level this time around. And once again, they just blew me away with the whole routine, because people don't seem to understand how difficult this act is and how much precision that you need to do, especially and how hard juggling is at that caliber, if that's the word. But they just did it with absolute perfection. I loves the whole elements, with them doing the blindfolding and then the juggling between the fire sticks, and then you know, with one of them actually falling over, it just shows how difficult this act is. It's such a difficult act to do. So I can't give enough credit to them. I just thought they were brilliant. I just thought it's an act that deserves its own show in Vegas. I'd go to Vegas to see them live. I just think the whole routine was just phenomenal. And I'm not even saying that just because they were taking their clothes off and then putting them back on again. I'm not saying that, but I genuinely think to do an act like this, it's nothing short of incredible. And I have to take my hat off to them, because what they are capable of doing is nothing short of sensational. And I can't say enough. They really are a world class act. So now we go on to the next act, which was Simon's Golden Buzzer, which was for Micah Palace, the rapper, from episode 1 of the auditions. So he's from Connecticut, and his audition had him doing an original rap song called No Sabo. Basically, is about his experience growing up in an Argentine household and being located in Connecticut, and that's where he did a backflip as well to end off his audition. So this time around, he mentioned in his VT that he was a massive fan of football, or soccer as you call it in America, and he basically did his original rap song called Rodeo, basically about his love for soccer. And he did basically a rap, and he was doing it both in Spanish and English. And of course, the performance ended off with him doing a backflip on the big stage. And what I found quite funny, as well, as after he did the backflip, about 5 seconds after he did that, the cannons actually shooted out the confetti, which I kind of feel like was just like the production team forgot to do that. It was like, and they were just, oh, hang on, we're supposed to fire this confetti, okay? Do it now before it's too late. And then they got it out on the way, which I found quite funny. But let's go to the comments now. So Howie mentioned he was on his feet because he thinks people would enjoy it, and he is like their own personal good bunny. I don't know what that meant. Sophia mentioned that he was amazing. He did really well, and there was a reason. And she also mentioned something that could be good at the World Cup. Mel mentioned that it went viral, and she gets it because it did go viral. Because I think on TikTok, I believe it's at. I need to find out how many views it's at the moment. Let me just find that out quickly. I'm gonna go to the AGT YouTube channel quickly, just to find that out, just to be sure. It's just need to scroll through. Just keep scrolling. Yeah, you'll get there. I'll get there. Don't worry. We might be here all day, but oh well. It's absolutely fine regardless. So it has got. If I can find it still, where is it? Where is it? Where did it go? Where did it go? Is it there? Yes, it's got 40.8 million views right now. So that's a lot of views right there. And that's just, I haven't looked on Instagram when they did it. I haven't looked on that yet, which I probably won't at the moment. But she does get it. But she mentioned she didn't get it, but she does get it. Which is an understandable reason, to be honest with you, Mel. And then Simon mentioned that he does get it, actually, because he really likes him. He thought it was a clever song. The World Cup is coming, and he thinks it should be the anthem. And he then asked Micah what colour the World Cup was, and then he responded to gold, and that is when Simon gave him the golden buzzer, meaning he is through to the final. And honestly, compared to Marmaduke, who got it last week, which no offense, of course, to Marmaduke whatsoever, no hate towards her, but because I know I felt a bit unsure about that pick of a golden buzzer. For me, Micah really deserved this. Actually, I thought he really deserved it. But he really stepped up his game from the first time around. And just I love the whole song. I love the way the audience were interacting with him. They were joining in with the song as well. It was just, and also he is such an entertainer. He's got this like charisma to him, which is so infectious. And I absolutely love this guy. I think he was fantastic, and also the YouTube comment sections are literally completely night and day, because the Mama didn't get that much of a good response, but with Micah Palace, he's getting a good response here. So honestly, yeah, I'm so. But yeah, he really surprised me this week because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I was really impressed with the whole performance. I thought it was a well-deserved golden buzzer as well, but also to see him on his knees taking in that moment was really, really beautiful to see. As you can tell, he was emotional. I think he was even praying to the gods up there. If that's what we call it. But I'm so happy for him. I thought he did an excellent, excellent job, and I can't wait to see what he does now in the finals. It's going to be so great, as we now have two rappers now in the final. We have him and Marmaduke, which is awesome, to be honest. I absolutely love that. And of course, we have Steve Ray Ladson, who got it in week one. Now, I am hoping to get some variety in next week's episode, especially for a few of the acts. I'm hoping to get it, which I'm keeping my fingers crossed here, hoping for it to be happening. But I'll talk about that in my predictions at the end of the video. But yeah, a well-deserved golden buzzer here from Simon, and I'm very happy for him. I can't wait to see what he does in the final, because I already think it's going to be fantastic. Now we go on to the next act, which is indeed Mastermind, the AI magician, which a very interesting act here. So yeah, basically this guy here, basically in a outfit with like a leather jacket on, with a big mask, very very cool outfit, and so basically his audition, the performance this time round. Oh, excuse me. So basically, he did an interactive magic routine, including the judges' phones and the audience through via thoughts via AI. So using his signature combination of magic and AI, of course, he asked Simon to choose a card from a deck, which he got out of his phone, which was or out of a mobile phone, which I thought was very cool. And then and basically it was basically a card, a desk of like emojis. I think they were on the cards, and then he showed the on Howie's mobile phone, um, you know, how all the nearby Wi-Fi networks named had changed to Simon's thinking of the red love heart emoji, which was the same one he picked from the deck, which was very clever. And then he instructed the audience to all think of someone who they had spoken to in a long time, whether it be like a family, friend, etc., etc. He then asked Mel to ask AI to pick one seat in particular, and she chose, or the AI chose H5, and the audience member in H5 suddenly found herself with a ringing on her mobile phone, and she basically had the person that she was thinking of, which was really quite mind blowing to watch. And then for the last part of the trick, Mastermind told the audience member, I think her name was Amy, to call her friend, um, and basically to ask where she was calling her from, and the answer was she was calling her in an elevator, and suddenly everyone in row H had the word elevator on their phone, and finally the H plus the word in elevator combines to spell the name Love Heart, which was the exact emoji Simon chose, which absolutely blew my mind. I was watching, I was like, and then when that happened, I was like, what? Like, honestly, I was just so impressed with this. It was so, like, I just like it was just brilliant. So Sophia mentioned that she didn't know what happened, but it was so magical and unexpected, and he really stepped up tonight. Mel mentioned that she was confused, but she thinks she gets it, and it was magical. Howie mentioned that this is the place where magic wins, and he mentioned this the best act tonight, and one of the best magic acts he's seen, or from one of the most amazing magic he had seen. And he did have one question where his phone was, and then Simon gave it back to him. But Simon mentioned that he didn't quite understand the ending, but he'll watch it back, and also mentioned it was brilliant, and it was brilliant, because AI, I think, is a very interesting source of use, because people use AI in any way, shape, or form. You use ChatGPT, etc. But to use it in magic is something I'd never seen before, and the way that he does it, it's just nothing short of incredible. I just think what he's able of doing is simply just incredible. I would have never thought of doing an act like this, including AI. Like, it's just such a clever way. I just think it's so unique. But what I'm curious about is when are we going to find out who this guy is? Because like at some point when he gets eliminated, we got to find out who he is. Like, now I've actually been looking on the AGT subreddit, and the popular guess for who Mastermind is currently Colin Cloud, who was on season 12, the year Darcy Lynn won. And what I think is probably the most competitive season ever, which of course season 12 for context, which honestly I actually in that agreement now, because at his audition, they really distorted the voice that you couldn't tell who it was, and I was kind of confused myself, but you could tell the moment he started speaking. I realized, oh wait, this has got to be Colin Cloud, because his accent, his voice is so recognizable. It's like they try to do the distortion like they do for the Masked Singer, but they completely and utterly did a horrible job at it. Like, it's like if Kevin Hart, like, even without the pitch correction, when Kevin Hart was the book on the Masked Singer, we all knew it was Kevin Hart. Or like, who else? Who else? Like, just trying to think of someone else, like Jerry Springer. Like, you could tell that was his voice from a mile away, despite not hearing the pitch, despite the pitch correction. And of course, who else was there? Michael Bolton, that was another one, I think. Well, maybe not distorted voice, but more like, or Macy Gray. Macy Gray, that was another one. That was another contestant that, even despite the distorted voice, you could tell who it was. But honestly, I was just blown away by the whole act. I just thought it was incredible. And people might be saying, she was probably planted there. She was probably set up. Okay, maybe it might have been. It might have been that, but still, it was still just, I couldn't get my head around watching the whole performance, and I was just captivated by the entire thing. I just thought what he was able of doing was amazing. I just thought the whole act is just amazing. He was amazing, and honestly, I am kind of hoping he gets revealed soon, because I just want to know who this is. I just want to know if it is Colin Cloud. But let's just move on to the next act, just before we get carried away. So the next act we had was Girish and the Chronicles, who are the rock band from India. And their audition had them doing Set Fire to the Rain by Adele, their own rock version, which was fantastic. Girish has got such a phenomenal voice. So their performance this time around, they had them doing a rock version of Sia's Unstoppable, and and it really worked as well, because Girish, the high notes he was be able to hit was just goosebumps. You know, the whole band was amazing. The vocal range Girish was shredding on the stage was just like, his voice just reminds me a lot of Sebastian Bach, Adam Lambert, all these great rock singers that we have in this day and age, and it was nothing short of just amazing. So Howie mentioned that he couldn't even sit down. He was so excited. It's his favorite genre of music, and it was his favorite act of the night. Sophia mentioned that they were spectacular and they look great. They sound great. Mel mentioned that the vocals sometimes were a little bit off, which I disagree with hard. But the production was very good, and the way they interpreted the song was hotter than hot. Simon mentioned that it was really fun. This could have been 30 or 40 years ago, but it doesn't matter. And the audience absolutely loved them, which you could definitely tell. And I believe actually one of the members actually sustained a broken finger, or an injured finger, prior to the performance. But he still delivered a dominating performance. I think it was one of the guitarists, I believe, after we watched that. But honestly, I was just absolutely, like, I was so excited to see these guys again, and boy did they not disappoint, as the whole arrangement of the song was amazing. They've got the looks, they got the looks, they got the sound, and like I mentioned, Girish's vocal range is absolutely incredible. Like, some of the, like, and I love hearing rock singers being able to hit those notes, as it's just to hit, and just the range he was able to hit was just goosebumps. I had goosebumps listening to that, and just honestly, like, we need more bands like these on the show, as they are just absolutely phenomenal. And I will say this now, this would have been my golden buzzer of the night. I just thought they were incredible. They were fantastic. I just, honestly, if I was a judge on the panel, I would have given them the golden buzzer. No two ways about it. I just think they were absolutely phenomenal, and just, I hope this is not the last we see of them, and they go on to like a whole, and they do like some sort of like tour or something with each other, or they do like collabs with like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, etc., etc., etc. Because I just think they are just such an incredible group, and I'm so happy for them that they were on the show, and I can't wait to see what seems to come for these guys in the near future. I thought it was an amazing performance. Now we go on to the next act, which was Anna Saranina, the crossbow shooter, who we all know, who was part of Deadly Games, who got to the semi-finals of the show back in 2016. But since then, both of them have now divorced, and she's now performing as a solo act. So in her audition, she did a crossbow shooting routine, and she basically shot an arrow from 8 paces away. She did it blindfold with tin foil and electric tape, which I didn't realize it was actually electric. I just thought it was just like normal, like, black sticky tape. I didn't realize it was electric. And then at the end, he got Simon to join her, and then he basically shot a arrow at a red square that was near his nearer his yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So let's go to her performance here. So she did a crossbow shooting routine to Taylor Swift's "Look What You Made Me Do." So basically, she used a whip that was covered in flames, so the fire was involved, and then she put on a blindfold and accurately hit a rose with a arrow, and then after the big climax, involved with several crossbows getting off in a row, and then with her actually catching an arrow as it hits one of the balloons attached to her chest. So she had a balloon attached to her chest, and then it popped the balloon, and that's when she caught it. So Sophia mentioned that it was awesome, and it was so much better than the audition, and she looked like a superhero, which I'm not gonna lie, she does kind of give it that like Wonder Woman kind of vibe to her. Simon mentioned it was a huge step up. The ending was great, a bit slow, but it was a great ending. So Mel mentioned that she loves Anna's energy and the strength, And her story, you could that she saw on her face that she was even shocked by the whole routine, and how he mentioned that she should be lucky enough to get voted through, but he did say that everything that she does is amazing. That she should preload the arrows to keep the safety on because it takes a long time. But once we see it, it's amazing. Which I completely agree with the judges here. I thought she was once again phenomenal this time around. Um, and just again, like you guys know by now how much I love seeing Danger Axe on the show, and I don't know about you, but she's just got this star quality to her, like written all over her. And as I mentioned, as someone who absolutely loves Danger Axe, I just I just thought she absolutely nailed it. Like the whole build up was incredible, and especially with the ending, with all the arrows going off at once, and then with the whole balloon, and she catches the arrow. It just blew me away. It absolutely took my breath away. She's totally an act I would go to see in Vegas. I just think she is just amazing. Excuse me. But I just thought she massively stepped it up from the first audition. It was an exciting performance, and this is why I want more Danger Acts on the show, because I just think that what she's capable of doing is nothing short of incredible. And yeah, I just thought she massively stepped up her game from that first audition. It really was a phenomenal performance, and I'm so happy it went well, because one wrong move in one of these acts, then it's game over. Look what happened to Ryan and Anne Boleyn, where he actually got caught by an arrow with fire to it. If you remember, then you'll remember. But let's go on to the next act of the night, the second to last, which was Chris Turner, the improvised rapper from Manchester, where he basically had the judges picking words from all four judges and Terry, and he basically added them into a rap, which was very impressive, something very different as well, which I thought was brilliant as well. I thought as an overall audition was very good. So when he got to the quarterfinals, I was like, oh, okay. So how is this going to work? Is he going to get maybe? But is he going to um, is he going to stumble this time around? But no, he really proved me wrong on this performance here. So his performance for the quarterfinals had him doing a freestyle rap by using suggestions from the viewers at home via Instagram, with the judges picking the most creative ones. So the picks were Terry Crews in White Chicks from Howie, Mushy Peas from Mel, which which if you guys don't know by now, mushy peas are basically something that we have in the UK when you're having fish and chips at the seaside. Mushy peas. For all my American viewers out there, feel free to check it out. You may understand what I mean. And then Sophia's was vegetable cream cheese, and Simon was make your plums make sure your plums are ripe. Yes, and he basically did a rap, adding all the elements, all the words into a rap, which really impressed me. I was massively impressed with the whole performance. It was just again, I thought he really stepped it up again from the auditions, and he's honestly an act I've honestly have not given him much kind of credit to, because I think he really was fantastic this time round. So Mel mentioned it was lit, it was on it, it was improvisation to the max. So Howie mentioned it was amazing, it was comic, it was musical, magical. He's everything that the 20th anniversary has. Sophia mentioned that he's very clever and he can do this, and he seems so effortless. And Simon mentioned that he's smart, funny, unique, and he's gonna remember this. It was all in the moment, and it's true, because he's got like no time to like write everything down. Like he has to think of it on the spot, which is absolutely crazy to, it's commendable. It's commendable beyond belief that he's able to do that. And just, he was one of the acts I wasn't sure on how well he would do this time round. But he once again really, really impressed me, because not only doing rapping by himself is very hard enough. We have many rappers out there like Wiz Khalifa, Eminem, just to name a few. But the way he does it by improvising on the spot, using words chosen by the judges, and the viewers, is just, it takes a huge amount of guts to do, and what he was able to do was nothing short of effortless. I just thought he was just brilliant. He was absolutely superb. And honestly, I will say this now, I think he's really showing himself as the dark horse now for this season, because I think I really underestimated him a lot throughout the competition, and I really feel like this was his moment, and he absolutely delivered this time around. I thought he was just brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I am so happy for him, and he's from Manchester as well, fellow UK here, folks. Brilliant. But once again, he really was just amazing. I absolutely loved him. Now we go on to the final act of the night, and the contestant that we have all been waiting for to make her big return, and that is the phenomenal Jessica Sanchez, who we all know the story by now, with her being on the very first season of AGT back in 2006, then being on American Idol, finishing as the runner-up, which I still think she should have won that season, despite Philip Phillips being really good. I still think, and I think we can all agree, Jessica should have won this season, should have won American Idol. So she came back, and we all knew, especially myself, that going into the season, that she would be the big fan favorite, especially when she was shown in the very first trailer. And that showed, as her audition is now at 10 million views, where she did Beautiful Things by Benson Boone, which got her the golden buzzer from Sophia, which was so well deserved as well. She was just incredible, and I could not wait for her performance this time around. So she did Alex Warren's Ordinary, and of course she had a band behind her, similar to the auditions. And I have, all I have to say is this was not only the best performance of the night. Not only this was the best performance of the night, this was the best performance of the season. It, hands down, the best vocal performance I have seen this whole season, as it was just incredible. And she also mentioned it in a VT that she is 8 months pregnant, I believe. Yeah, I believe she is. And this just demonstrates why she has one of the most strongest voices in the entire competition. And this just showed right here. So Sophia mentioned that it was amazing and it was nothing short of spectacular. Simon mentioned that he was absolutely blown away. And also she has got an amazing tone and a glow about her. Mel mentioned that she had never sounded better. And she mentioned was brilliant. And Howie mentioned that when she was hitting his big notes, he was worried that this production was going to be turning into a reproduction, which was a very funny little thing he said there. And I honestly have no words to describe, to say at this rate, on how phenomenal this performance was. Like, this was hands down the best performance of the whole season, and absolutely by leaps and bounds, in my opinion. Like, at this rate, we just gotta give her the crown right there and there. We need to give her the winning trophy right there. Give her the $1 million now, because I honestly have nothing else to describe how incredible this was. And just not only she performed the song justice, but the whole arrangement was superb. The arrangement was incredible. The way she sang the song was incredible. The vocals were phenomenal, and just the way the way she was belting those notes and the note she was hitting was just spellbinding, absolutely spellbinding. And I just honestly, at this rate, I would just like, she just at this rate just deserves to win the whole show. At this rate, she deserves to win the whole season. She's just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm saying this now. I'm doing a video about this very soon. But I'm gonna say this now. If the top two this season does not come down between her and Unreal Crew, I'm gonna be a very upset person, because at this rate, they have to be the top two. Her and Unreal Crew. Honestly, if to see those two acts make it in the top two together in the finals would honestly be epic. And as I just think both Jessica and Unreal Crew are acts that I think deserve to win the show, in my opinion. And I know we've got acts like Jordan Blue, Lightwire, and other great acts like Circa Maria, Bay Melnick. But honestly, to have both Jessica and Unreal Crew in the top two together would just be a dream. Honestly, that would honestly be one of my favorite ever final twos ever, and I'm really hoping that happens, because I think both of them are worthy of winning this season, and I'm just hoping that happens, because they are just incredible. This was just another phenomenal performance from her, and to be honest with you, they just have to give the trophy to her right now. Like, just give her the win. Everybody might as well just go home right now, because I think we've just found the winner of this season right here, everybody. I'm telling you, once again, she was absolutely phenomenal. Now we go on to the results show on who makes the semi-finals, and the top five we had was Chris Turner, Mastermind, the Masadi Bros, Jack Lewin and Wagner, and Jessica Sanchez. And honestly, this week was probably the most surprise I've ever felt for a result show, as the first act to make it through was none other than Mastermind. And let me tell you, my jaw dropped when his name was called, as I was not expecting his name to be called whatsoever. As you know, but it just shows how how well Magic has done over the years, and it really is just shows how well it's done over the years, and the way he does it with AI is incredible. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I am surprised he made it through, but I can definitely see the public getting behind him. Then the next step we had was the next step making it through to the semi-finals was Chris Turner, which honestly I am very happy about. I thought he really massively stepped it up from the first time round, and I loved his performance of the quarterfinals, which was brilliant. And then it came down between Jack Lewin and Wagner, Jessica, and the Masaudi brothers. And this is what I was dreading, because the fact they came down between both Jessica and the Masaudi bros, it was just like, come on, like, are you serious? Because honestly, realistically, I thought both of them would be going through. I thought they'd be the first two to go through. So the fact is between those two and Jacqueline Wagner, I was just like, oh, please, just get this over and done with. But in the end, it was revealed that Jessica Sanchez was going through to the semi-finals, which is no surprise, absolutely no surprise whatsoever, because she was just absolutely incredible. One of the best I think one of the best singers I've heard on this show in a long time. I just think she's absolutely incredible. Hang on, folks. Right, so about that, folks. I had to do something there. But as I was saying about Jessica, there was no surprise she was going through, because she was just phenomenal. I still think she could win the whole thing, and I really hope that the top two comes down to her and Unreal Crew at this rate. And I am going to do a video about this as well in a few days, so stay tuned for that, as you won't want to miss it. I'm going to explain why I think that. But once again, she was just phenomenal, to say the least. So definitely the most interesting results we had this week, but not complaining at the same time. So that is it for this week. Recap and review of America's Got Talent for season quarterfinals 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's quickly go through the lineup for next week. We have, do this quickly, I haven't got too long left. So we have the Birmingham Youth Choir, Chuck Adams, Cole Swenson, Crash Adams, Gendai, Mike Munns, Team Recycled, Boykins, Funky Tail Dancers, T-Boys, and Zach Mers. I had to rush through that quickly, but I'm going to leave it there. Who do you think will get the Gone Buzz up? I'm thinking towards maybe Gendo or the TT Boys, but I'd love to hear your thoughts below. And I think who I think will make through to the semi-finals, I think will be Team Recycle, TT Boys, and the Boykins. That's who I'm thinking will make it to the semi-finals. Let me know your predictions for next week in the comments below. And once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. With post notifications on, I would really appreciate that. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video. And of course, I will see you guys next time.